Recording in progress.
16 hole.
Good. Perfect. So the Newton Planning Board would like to hold a public meeting on Tuesday, June 28th, 2022, beginning at 7:03 p.m. at the Newton Town Hall. I'd like to salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda tonight is the continuation of 125 Development New Hampshire Corporation of Plaistow, New Hampshire. They're requesting for a public hearing for a four-building condominium site off South Main Street in Newton, New Hampshire. The property is referenced as Tax Map 14, Block 1, Lot 27-3. So I think just about everybody here knows that we're almost at our limit for the taking jurisdiction of the application. We're at day 63 out of 65. Ms. Rowden, do you have any input on the application? A few things have happened since they've come in front of us. I believe everybody on the board knows they've been in front of the Board of Selectmen for one of their waiver requests, which is the use of the existing right-of-way at the west end of Howard Lane for the connection of I'll call it an access for emergency use only. Do you have anything else
So
to
for
add?
the procedural aspect, there are a couple of choices. We can continue with the application, and if the applicant requests, a decision could be made by the planning board this evening after you take care of any waivers. The applicant could ask for a continuance if that's their request and you agree to it, so we could continue with the process. So those are really the two logistical options for this evening. As far as the waiver concerning Howard Lane, it was denied by the select board, so I do recommend that that be removed from the plan set. With the waiver and the cul-de-sac, it may come into how that, if you are still going to allow via granting a waiver, the road length to be greater than the 1,000 feet. I know that the cul-de-sac, or the use of Howard Lane had been proposed as sort of one of the reasons and justifications for giving that waiver. So the planning board has to now consider that waiver in light of the fact that Howard Lane is not able to be used as that emergency access. I've got other comments for other components, but I can save those till we get a little further into tonight's proceedings.
Okay. And just to remind everybody, previously we had 4 waivers, almost reiterating what you just said. We had 4 waivers in front of us because of the denial of the use of the Howard Lane right-of-way by the Board of Selectmen. We now have 3 waivers in front of us. And those 3 waivers are, if I can recall, the use or the length of a private roadway exceeding 1,000 feet, the location, the final location of the underground septic systems, and the third one was it the...
Is the hydrogeologic study,
Okay.
which is related to the septic.
Thank you. So we have the 3 waivers in front of us. Do we want to, sorry.
Actually, Dan, I've got one other thing that, because I know the applicant's waiver requests, variance requests to the zoning board were denied, the planning board effectively has to continue on through that process until the applicant has exhausted all variance relief options, which they are still within that, so. But any conditional approval should be contingent on them receiving that relief.
Okay, so potential pathway forwards tonight are accepting or approving conditionally the 3 waiver requests in front of us, denying all 3 waiver requests or any of them at some reason, or a continuance.
You can also deal with some of the waivers and have a continuance.
Okay. I'm just trying to set the groundwork so
Yep.
idea what's going on. Yeah, so do we have any discussion points for the board at this point? Questions of the waivers in front of us, the roadway variant or waiver request. I'm not sure if anybody has watched the proceedings or the previous meetings in front of the Board of Selectmen where the fire chief and road agent has provided their opinion on the roadway exceeding 1,000 feet. That's, I believe it's all publicly available. I'm not sure if, Bob, you want to, since you're on the board,
The road agent and the fire chief had no problems with them creating industrial way and it being a one lane, the one road going in for now. They referenced Puzzle Lane when they did the other project over there, that they had the one road going in. They were able to take care of business and construct everything that they needed to, and then there were no issues that if an emergency arises, and I even talked about it at the meeting, that somebody would definitely know that there was an emergency somewhere along that road and it would be addressed and taken care of, so there would be no issues to be had in case there was another emergency that developed on the construction site. So everything would be taken care of. So other than that.
Okay. And does the applicant have anything to add? Sure. I'm going to try to walk through this specific to the first waiver request of the roadway length.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of what we are looking for as well, that they would be appropriate to look at that in more detail. As Mr. Marchand indicated, that both the fire chief, I believe the police chief spoke on it, I have that in my notes, and the road agent, they all indicated that they don't see the length of the proposed road as a safety issue, which is really the reason for the 1,000-foot length of the cul-de-sac. So we believe it'd be appropriate to vote on that, just to allow the applicant, give him the notice that that would be allowed as we move forward. We have, obviously, with the Board of Selectmen denying the request to utilize the emergency lane at the end of Howard Lane, our waiver request is modified slightly because we were using that as part of the reasons for the waiver request. I have revised the waiver request in writing if you guys would like to, or you obviously know the reasons why we are requesting the waiver as well.
So my one question is, the denials that were put forth in the zoning board had nothing to do with the roadway, correct? It was all about the structure of where the buildings are going and stuff?
There were two waiver requests or variance requests that were denied. One was for the 200-foot structural setback, which includes part of the road. The ZBA indicated that the road would count as as a structure per the definition, and for wetland buffer impacts, which there were no buffer impacts for the emergency access or the road coming in, at least at the top part of the project. So they wouldn't have applied to I guess they would have applied to the structural setback for the emergency lane.
Right.
So the Board of Selectmen denial doesn't affect the variance. We are appealing the variance decision, so we're going to keep moving forward.
Can you provide, I guess I was going to ask a question as well, clarification on the definition of a structure being a roadway?
So your definition of a structure basically says anything that is created to have a fixed position on the earth is considered a structure. It is a very vague definition. Structures in the past in Newton have included things like parking lots, stormwater structures. They have typically not included the ability to access a site, but they have included some things like parking lots, and the ZBA in this case thought that the portion of the roadway constituted a structure.
So not a road.
I will say the way that this lot is designed, I largely agree with what Barry has said. The one thing that may make a difference, though, is the cul-de-sac that is really designed for the fire truck to be able to turn around, may have implications about the length of the cul-de-sac. And that's the one that's closest to Howard Lane.
And correct me if I'm wrong, access as being proposed to the site right now is through a 75-foot wide
Right away.
right-of-way on,
It's part of the property, so it's not
Okay.
really a right of way, but it was left as an access, and it varies between 50 and, like you said, 75.
okay. Thank you. Do you have anything further on your question, Bob?
Not really. I think the rest, it's pretty much cut and dry at this point.
Okay. And I'm sorry I skipped ahead of the waiver number and Jim. But do you have anything to add for the standards of the waiver request?
Regarding the road,
Regarding the roadway, yes.
well, the standards are right there.
Okay. And how about from the public? Does the public have any, either online, on Zoom? Is it just two people that I'm seeing? And Ms. White?
Yes.
Okay. Or in front of us as well? Specific to the roadway, I should, the waiver request for the roadway. Yeah, it's only about the road. Sorry, can you? And please announce yourself as well.
Okay, Dan Sweeney, 11 Howard Lane.
Thank you.
I haven't had the pleasure of addressing the planning board yet, but I am now. So we know the waiver has been denied for the right-of-way, which is good. We're good with that, no problem. I really don't know what's going on with the plan, with the 200-foot setbacks, and they're talking about, they're going to appeal the... So to be honest with you, today, I don't really know where we're standing. I mean, if the road is a structure, then it's within the 200 feet. But that's what I guess we're really not here to talking about tonight, I guess, so I want to keep it as short and sweet as possible. So, yeah. Trees and berm. Okay, so when we do get into the buffer and the berms and all that, we are going to ask for like evergreen trees and a buffer to, the view, keep the view down from our property back. But the honest to God truth, I hope the 200 feet goes way back. I'm talking about as far back into Plaistow. I want it to go all the way back to Smith Corner Road. If I can. But I guess if it's going through the appeal process, we just gotta see what happens. So, all right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dennis, can I clarify something just for everybody? So the variance is being addressed, or the appeal of the variance is being addressed by the zoning board. So that is not a planning board decision, that 200 feet. The waiver request is for the length of the road, not necessarily the placement of the road on the plan set. The planning board, through other provisions, can increase buffers the same way the zoning board, if they were to give relief to that 200-foot setback, can require increased buffers or screening. But right now, this is just the road length that we're talking about. So, yep, just, you're probably not the only one with that question.
So we are only granting approval for a roadway
Greater than 1,000 feet.
greater than 1,000 feet, and then the location of the roadway would be pending approval of the variance request in front of the zoning board. Is that
Correct.
Right.
a fair statement?
And there's nothing about the traffic study included in that?
You can require a traffic study as part of your consideration of the roadway and the site plan overall. You could grant the waiver, but still require a traffic study, which they have to do for a DOT permit anyway.
You already asked for that.
I'll make a motion that we grant the waiver for the road length.
Excuse me, I have my hand raised.
I'm sorry, absolutely. Ms. Jeffries, is it Jeffries?
Yes.
Yes. So my name is Lynn Jeffries. I'm at 12 Ridgewood Road. I am in a butter. And we've spoken before about this extended road. And my concern and the concern of my neighborhood is that the extended cul-de-sac is simply a way to get the road built before the next stage plan has been shown, has been applied for, or has been approved. And it's just a bunch of extra road that they are building before they've even gone to you with their next stage plan. And so we object to this extended road.
So, I'm trying to summarize this. Your concerns are that I'm going to use hypothetical numbers. The roadway is 5,000 feet long. The applicant only needs to access their site a road of 2,000 feet. So there's an extra 3,000 feet of roadway being proposed. And we, as a planning board, do not know the intended use of that road? Is that a...
Well, you don't know where it's going or what buildings will be planned on the next stage. They're just saying this is the road. And it comes right up to our neighborhood. So that's why, our concern is you've given them this extra road that you have no idea what the plan is and if this road is appropriate for whatever that next plan is.
So, Jen, do you want to add? I can see you.
It's just a comment that what they are applying for is what they are applying for. That's what you would be granting approval to if you were to grant an approval. You are allowed to consider future development on the site in your deliberations on the waiver, the application as a whole. I think it's been very obvious that the intention is to eventually connect this over to Puzzle Lane, but that is not what they are currently applying for, but you also know of the potential future development.
Right, that's what I figured too.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I believe she's referring, I don't want to speak for her, but I believe she's referring specifically to Puzzle Lane extension with the cul-de-sac. That is 1,067 feet. So the waiver that we're requesting for is 67 feet. And that is to get over the gas easement. So we're going to get over that during this first phase. So it's not like we're building the road to nowhere. That's not going to be developed. We have plans to connect that to Puzzle Lane in the future. This just allows us, while we're doing road work out there for phase 2, to add 1,000 feet. And we'll be back into the planning board for any additional buildings that are going to go out there in excess of phase 2.
Okay. And if and when that application, this is for you, Jen, sorry. If and when that application comes in front of the planning board for whatever structure they're building out there at some point, we have the ability to request additional traffic studies, roadway design, and to deem whether or not that road as currently designed can or will serve the future development?
Yes, I will just also add to that, if for some reason the next phase does not sort of complete the circuit all the way from this entrance to the other side of where Puzzle Lane currently is, you would also have to consider whether you would allow for an extension of a road beyond 1,000 feet. They would have to come back in for that same waiver if they wanted to go 2,000 feet to another cul-de-sac.
So we would essentially obtain feedback from stakeholders, the fire department, police, road agent, to say that the road is currently 1,067 feet. They're proposing private roadway that's 1,800 feet, are they comfortable with the additional, what is that, 367 feet? My math was wrong. Wow.
Correct. If it didn't loop around, that would be correct. That you would have to, they would have to seek that waiver.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there is a motion on the floor.
How many feet is Puzzle Lane?
The existing
I know.
I can find out and get back to you.
I'm just interested. I mean,
I'm guessing it's, how long is the existing Puzzle Lane?
Oh, we got 1,300 feet going to 27.3.
Okay.
1356 to be exact. So we're going to be
300 feet over the waiver.
Yeah.
Over what you're asking right now.
Historically, we have 3 variances on the road.
I'll second the motion, Jim.
Okay, so Mr. Marchand.
Now it's open for discussion. Now that would make it open for discussion so we can finish discussing it.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm good. Police are good. Fire department's good. It's fine with me.
Did Ms. White have anything to say, or any questions?
No, I'm good. I mean, as long as the road agent and
Okay,
the
thanks, Barbara.
fire department say that they're fine.
Yep. Any other comments?
Let's roll it.
You guys
I
ready to
got just
vote?
one thing. Well, I think it should be a condition of any approval with the site plan, but that if you grant this waiver, that a condition be that they get liability coverage from, because it's going to be a private road, from the town for emergency access. That's a very standard on private roadways requirement.
Are there any additional, so that was fairly boilerplate language that we've used in the past? Or is it conditional language that we've used in the past?
It's very boilerplate for a private roadway to
Okay.
be constructed.
And
It's
that-
actually
when they
required
go-
in state law too.
That's one condition that I was gonna make, that because of the length of this road, that it will permanently remain a private road, that it can no way, shape, or form become a town road.
Do you,
So that is actually, if they were to petition for it to become a town road, you would have to consider that petition at that time. So you can't give an outright prohibition that this would never become a public road.
Right, but
That's why you want it built to town
according
standards.
to the town ordinance, though, it's way over the town ordinance's permissible length.
Correct, but if you grant the waiver to allow the extra length, and it's still proposed to be a private road, that's fine.
Yep.
But if it were to be petitioned and brought before the select board to adopt as a public road, you can't at this juncture deny them that ability in the future.
Okay,
so to clarify, if this roadway, if the owner decides or would like to petition for it to become a town road, it would go in front of the Board of Selectmen?
Correct.
Thank you. Additional conditions for this waiver? Does anybody have anything else to add? So we have the additional insurance. I think we would like to include something along the lines of pending any potential modifications. Well, I guess never mind. I'm
That
gonna
gets
retract
covered
that
other ways.
based on your comment previously.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Absolutely, Barbara.
Okay, I'm wondering if the applicant thinks that perhaps in the future they may want to petition the town for this to be accepted by the town, this road, I think it needs to be, and I'm not sure if it was in here or not right this minute, it would have to have been built to town standards to start with.
So,
Is that a question to the board or to the applicant, or just a statement, Barbara?
Actually, I guess it's more of a statement, and maybe Mr. Geyer can clarify whether it's actually going to be built like to the standards of a regular town-owned road type thing.
Yes, it is, and the design includes the town standards, except obviously
Okay.
for the road length.
All right, thank you.
So Tom Lackboard, Nordic Structures agent for 125 Development. To explain the project, we do carry insurance as it is right now because the road is being used. It goes all the way around. We've carried insurance from the beginning. We have to, so that's not an issue with us. But I will just want to say that we will never flip it from a private road to town because the impact to the town is something we don't desire. So we'll maintain it, and it's always been the thought. We have never looked to turn it over into the existing Puzzle Lane, and it will stay that way. I don't see anything changing. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do we have any other comments from the public?
Call it.
Do you want to do the roll call, Jim, unless we have anything else?
No, you place the condition upon the granting of the waiver to
From the ZBA?
have the liability coverage.
Yes, so ZBA and then the liability coverage.
So just when the board is voting, that you do need to keep in mind the two main requirements for granting waivers, which is in your rules of procedure, that the waiver criteria is that strict conformity would pose an unnecessary hardship to the applicant, and the granting of the waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the ordinance. Just both of those should be kept in mind for any of these any of these waivers, and not just this one specifically.
The criteria is on the back of your agenda.
And we've previously set precedent by approving roadways longer than 1,000 feet.
So you have granted this waiver on other applications, but I will say planning board precedence does not actually exist as a legal status. But I understand your question.
That's specified in your zoning.
Okay. I don't have any other comments.
Can I poll the board?
Yes, please.
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Guide?
Aye.
Mr. Marchand?
Aye.
Mr. Piper?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you all very much. The other two waivers, I think we can hold off. Those are more dot your I, cross your T items. We will show sewage facilities before we're asked for approval by the board, and we will provide the hydrogeological study. So I think we can wait on those. The traffic study, as Mr. Piper referred to, is underway. We hope that we will have that by the next meeting and hope to have it within the next week or so. So that'll be submitted to the town as soon as possible, and then we can discuss any improvements required by the traffic study.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
DOT specify the start and stop? How far out they wanted you to
Yeah,
conduct it?
we had a DOT scoping meeting on a project this large, and they do look at it and they get into more detail, but they tell us how far down, what intersections they want us to look at in both directions, if any. This is kind of in a weird location that's not any real big state highways that intersect. So I can't recall how far they asked us to go.
Okay.
But yes, we have the scoping meeting that'll cover.
And prior to you coming back in front of the board at whatever date that is, the planning board, you'll revise the drawings to pull out Howard Lane?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll be able to make the changes required by the traffic study, remove the Howard Lane emergency access, and I think there's a few items that KV Partners had pointed out that we need to address as well. We'll try to do everything at once and get you a clean set.
Perfect.
So you have to agree to continuance?
And that was my
2 days left.
my next question. I'm assuming that you're agreeing to a continuance to, Jim, do you know the next hearing?
June 12th.
June 12th. So July 12th.
Sorry, July 12th.
Yes, the applicant would agree to extending to the July 12th meeting.
Dennis, just some logistical things with any continuance. That doesn't give them a lot of time to turn around the revisions, then for me and the town engineer to review, for you to review, for the public to review. I'm just wondering if going to the next meeting might make more sense to
July
accommodate
26th.
that.
The 19th?
July 26th.
Oh, the 26th.
Yeah.
That would, especially with the holiday.
Just extend it anyways. What's the difference? Now we go to the 26th. It's not going to make any difference.
We're okay with extending to the 26th.
Awesome.
There you go.
Now, do we have to have a motion for that?
You do need to make a motion. I will say you might want to include a date that you want to receive the updated packet by. It sounds like that shouldn't be a problem based on what Barry has stated, but you know, at least a week ahead of time to be able to turn around reviews.
Are you guys able to get us that updated packet a week before the 26th? I know it's hard to say, obviously, but
Yeah, we'll get
hopefully.
you what we have as long as we have the traffic study and everything. But yes, we can do that.
So the 19th at, what time are your hours on the 19th on Tuesdays, Jim?
Considering the fact that the office isn't open on the 19th, it's open on the 18th and the 21st.
Okay.
So we wouldn't get it to the 21st anyways.
The 21st is the normal day for board packets to go out.
Okay.
The 18th, I would suggest, because these plan sets I've been hand delivering because the postage on them is horrendous.
Sure. Okay. You guys go with that? All right. I'll make a motion to continue it to the July 26th meeting with the caveat that we get our information, or you get your information, your revised packets in by the 18th.
And I'll second it.
What time do you open till on the 18th?
5.
At 5 on the 18th. Sorry.
Make it 4.
We shoot for noon because everybody's at noon.
Perfect.
Can you do the roll, Jim, please? Roll
Mr.
call.
Moran,
Aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Mr. Marchand,
Aye.
Mr. Piper,
Aye.
Mr. Guide.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
By the way, Mr. Chair, it's my responsibility to let you guys know when
Have
the
a good night.
NPREA
Stay
account
cool
is
this
getting
weekend.
low.
Friday's
And on
supposed to
this
be
one,
brutal.
after this NPREA manifest, it really needs to be topped off by 2K.
Take care.
You might want to do that while they're still present.
See you later, Tom.
Tom and Barry. Jim just reminded us about your NPREA account is running low, so we will request additional funds.
How much you need?
About 2,000.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank-
Next week. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the acceptance of the meeting minutes from June 14th, 2022.
Make a motion to accept said.
Second.
This is Barbara, I'll second.
I believe
you.
Mr. Piper beat you.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Guide?
Aye.
Mr. Marchand?
Aye.
Mr. Piper?
Aye.
That you received another document. It's entitled Public Minutes. It's from the June 21st. There was not a quorum present to actually hold a meeting. However, whenever you have an agenda, you have to have a corresponding, something memorializing what happened.
And that's, for clarification, the special meeting held by the Board of Selectmen?
Right. So that's for your information only. It'll go in the town clerk's book, but it's not they're not minutes to be approved.
Okay. And we don't, okay, you just said that, we don't have to approve those minutes, it's just for the record. Next on board business is the approval of the NPREA Manifest for the total of $1,037.70.
So moved.
Second.
She's getting quicker.
Roll, please, Jim.
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Guide?
Aye.
Mr. Marchand?
Aye.
Mr. Piper?
Aye.
And last on the agenda, Jim was nice enough to start revising the applications for home-based businesses that do not operate business out of their home. Is that the correct?
Do not have retail or customer space.
So, thank you for the clarification. So that would be some businesses, home-based businesses have been coming in front of the planning board for home-based businesses generally specific to registering their vehicle and accepting mail in town. Or accepting mail. Would you agree?
Plus, in order to set up a bank account and to register their business with the state,
Okay.
you have to have a fixed address.
Right, so they could register their vehicles, use the address, but they're not using it via product or any of that type of stuff, right?
There's no showroom, no
Right.
customers ever,
Yeah,
Yes, they may get packages there from FedEx or what have you, but that's, they have no retail space.
right.
As a matter of fact, there's one that will be coming in at your next meeting, which is somebody who's a plumber. And he looked at me and went, "Nobody brings me their sink to be repaired."
So this is the goal of this revised or additional form for these type of operations is to reduce the burden on the applicant
Correct.
and make it a little bit easier for us to go through the requirements for the business.
Well, it also meets the requirement of RSA 349:5, which is that in order to register with the state, you have to have a fixed abode and what have you.
Okay.
I will say this does not change the requirements of your zoning ordinance either. It's compliant, it's just a streamlined understanding of what they need to.
Okay.
As you see the list, there's still a checklist. You will notice that there's a bunch of stuff that was on the previous ones down here that said for office use only. And it was like reason for denial, and it had enough space to put in maybe 2 words. I got rid of that because the way I set up and structure the files on each application, the notice of decision immediately follows this document, and the notice of decision is thorough and complete. So rather than having to transcribe all that stuff over here and then get a chair with a signature small enough to fit in the little skinny line that was allotted for the chair, I've done away with it, and I will in the future ask that you do away with it on all of them, because it's additional red tape that adds nothing to the process.
Okay. My only comment is thank you for pulling this together.
Excuse me?
My only comment is thank you for pulling this together and getting it in front of us for our review/approval.
That's why I get the really big bucks. And I have to give Ms. White credit, she did.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Do we have any discussion? Comments?
Not on that one. I just have on the application for the minor site plan.
We have to do each
I know.
form separately.
Yep.
Motion to accept the conditional use permit of a home-based business application, revised. Right? You had one of these before, or is this a new one?
This is a new one.
To accept the home-based business application.
Second.
Can you do the roll, please, Jim?
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Guide?
Aye.
Mr. Marshon?
Aye.
Mr. Piper?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
And then the second application form in front of us is for a minor site plan.
Not minor.
The amended site plan.
Go up one.
Am I on the wrong one?
Yeah.
There we go.
There's amended
Why
site
not just
plan
open
and
the
minor
same
site
one?
plan.
The amended site plan.
Yeah, you got it.
There we go.
So is this new, or did you change something?
This is new.
Okay.
Do you want to explain why we're including this now? Or
At one time in days gone by, we had one land use application that had a whole bunch of checklists at the bottom with things that people were forever writing NA or trying to fill in. We have never had a separate application for an amended site plan. Once again, we have one coming in shortly. And in order to facilitate and keep things easy and flowing, this gives all the pertinent information on the cover page, as opposed to the previous ones where there's a checkbox. This one has a sheet, because most of what's on here, amended site plans are going to be coming in from people like the applicant that was here. So these are going to be done by engineers. Everything's going to say, see additional sheet, see additional sheet. It's request for additional information so that the board has, theoretically, all the information needed to take jurisdiction.
so again, it's an effort to streamline the process to make the applicant aware of what we need to review and potentially approve or deny their application in front of us.
Correct.
Yeah, just do know though that amended site plans have the same requirements as a site plan. There is not really any such thing as an amended site plan because the requirements are the same, but when you have a amended site plan submittal, you want to know the relevant information from the original site plan. That's the subtle difference. So I think that this will help provide easy information for you guys and for potential applicants.
Okay.
And the abutters are recontacted?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a formal application.
What's the timeline on this? So like, when is it not an amended site plan and when does it turn into something else, right? So like, if we approve, just say we approve 125.
Yep.
And it's built,
Yep.
would they file this if they wanted to put another shed or whatever on there? I don't know.
So they have a original site plan before you.
Sure.
If that got approved, any future changes to that site, a shed, a new building, expanding the parking lot, would be an amended site plan because they've got most of the information already because they have they're amending it by making a small change. If they tore down all the buildings and constructed a whole new building, that is a new site plan.
Okay, so, but if they completed the project and then they wanted to add something to that project,
That's an amended site plan.
Well, it would even
Still an
be,
amended. That's what I mean. I guess when does it ever run out?
When do you trigger a new site plan?
The
That's-
only thing that really triggers a new site plan in that kind of a case is you are completely changing the configuration of the building, the parking lot, all of the structures on the lot.
So for
that
their-
doesn't happen often.
So just keep using them as an example. So for their first plan, the buildings that they already built, if they wanted to do something there, add another building, what have you, theirs would be an amended site plan?
If it's on the same lot, yes.
Okay.
If it is a subdivision and then they build something, then it is just a site plan on that new lot.
And that, let me just, 1 second, Jim. But the requirements are still the same. They still have to provide the same documentation.
Right.
Where this has been come in the past is you have an existing building and you need to add a loading bay on the back of it.
Sure.
That's an amended site plan.
Right.
When Sergeant Woods went in, because it was a cluster development and they were required to use the footprints that were on the original plan, but suddenly they're on unit 27 and they go to dig and find that it's solid ledge and they need to move the building 6 feet over, amended site plan.
Okay.
It's a much easier process, but this document, the way the application reads, they have to spell out exactly what is changing.
Right. Okay.
So we're not sitting here looking for 2 sets of drawings or the previous drawings, like, well, what changed?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
make a motion to accept the application for amended site plan.
Second.
Mr. Moran?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Mr. Guide?
Aye.
Mr. Marchand?
Aye.
Mr. Piper?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Okay. I think that's everything tonight.
No, there's also the
One
application.
more.
online.
You're gonna hit the minor one, the one that you opened 3 times.
I thought we didn't want to do that one.
I have a question on that one.
Okay. Would you like me to give the brief background?
Sure.
At the last meeting, you had somebody that came in to build a barn. She needs to file a minor site plan. You have directions in your policies and procedure manual for minor site plans, but there's never been an application for them.
Oh, so you made one.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So it says application for minor site plan, and when you go down towards where it has the fees, it says fees for major site plan application.
Thank you, I did not catch that.
And that was my one thing for the day.
One thing that I have
numbers
been
right?
putting on here is the requirement for digital copies.
I think it's a,
On this one, it says digital copy if possible because a lot of people will be having to use this form and basically their idea of a digital copy is they're going to scan in their document and send it to me.
okay. Yeah, I'm,
For all the small ones, this isn't the major.
you're right, yeah.
Because these do not require that you have professional drawings.
Right.
Do you have the ability to scan small documents here?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I think
And
that's,
I do that as a courtesy for people.
I think that's perfect then. If possible, that would be great. If somebody doesn't have the ability to do that,
We had, the planning board had an applicant a couple of months ago who's actually his own draftsman. He sent them to me electronically and then he was like, "Can you print them?" Which, by the way, I will let the board know, the committee that is looking into spending the federal money has agreed to purchase for the planning board / ZBA a 3-foot
The copier.
printer, more importantly, scanner.
Yeah.
perfect.
Good.
Yep.
so you can clean up some files.
We will be able to, I've already started creating a database because I've been going to the registry website, don't say that too loudly, and actually pulling down all of the plans in reverse order that we have submitted them. I believe I'll be able to go back to someplace around 1980. However, that's one of those things.
Barbara, could you mute possibly?
Sorry, yes.
Thank you.
That's something that I can do probably 4 or 5 an hour. They take about 15 minutes each. So when I find, okay, it's 4:45 and there's some, I can go in and pull down a set and tuck it away. And eventually the town will have a database of all the plans digital.
Okay.
Very nice.
Are the fees the right number, or is it just
Excuse me?
on the application? Are the fees the right numbers, or is it?
The town fee, I had a discussion with Ms. Wrigley and with a couple of selectmen. Application fees go to the town, and in days past, the selectmen set what the applications fees were. We set what the NPREA fee was.
And the NPREA fee gets returned if we,
Yeah, anything that's not expended. I made sure on each one of these that the amounts are enough to cover the average cost. Theoretically, the application fee is supposed to be reimbursing the town for my time. Some of these, that application fee pretty much covers. Some of them, it doesn't even make a dent.
Sure.
Because as you can picture, certain applications have taken hours and hours.
I didn't know, because this was the minor site plan, but it said major site plan application. I didn't know if the actual dollar amounts were for the major site plan application or the minor.
Believe it or not, because they both have the same noticing requirements and what have you.
Yep.
It's the same
Okay.
amount. I am going to suggest in the future that the application fee for major site plans, subdivisions, become prorated based on the number of abutters, so that, say it's $250 for the base with 10 abutters, it becomes $350 when you go to 20 abutters.
Sure.
Because I've been sending out abutter notices 150 at a time.
I bet.
do you have anything to,
Those take 40 hours to prep.
Yeah.
do you have,
The town's getting $250 in return for the application fee to offset that cost.
do you have anything to add, Jen?
Yeah, it's just an alternate option. Some towns will base their fees for site plan subdivision on the square footage of disturbed area or the size of the building. In theory, the bigger the building, the longer the process is going to take, so more time.
Yeah.
The more lots, the bigger the subdivision, same idea, the more time. So it's just an alternative option that may be worth
And
exploring.
we do utilize those options for building size and lot number.
Okay.
However, just because we've been getting these massive, and we actually had a minor one over in the junction that ended up with 38 abutters, because it's a very long, narrow piece of property. And it's just one of those, okay, yeah, I can do it, but it comes out of your budget with nothing to go back in to cover it.
Right. I'll make a motion to accept the new application for the minor site plan with that correction.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Piper beat you.
All right.
Mr. Moran,
Aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Mr. Guide,
Aye.
Mr. Marshon,
Aye.
Mr. Piper.
Aye.
I will date these all as of tonight for a form approval date, and I will put them on the web as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
And
And
thank
they
you,
always go
Barbara,
on the
as
web
well.
in fillable format.
Electronic fillable format.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I try to make things as easy as possible for people.
Nice. Jen, you got anything else?
Nope, just you guys are getting fancier than some of the fancy towns.
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
At 7:57?
8:57, yep.
7. Huh? 7:57, it's not 8 o'clock.
Oh, 7:50. Wow.